Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I am said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of May 30th, 2024, including details of the next Doom game are beginning to leak. Reports suggest that Xbox is investing heavily in a new game that may be of serious consequence. Black Ops 6 gets its first reveal trailer, and more. During this week, in Xbox history, in the year 2002, 22 years ago, Aggressive Inline was released for the original Xbox, published by Acclaim, rest in peace. Aggressive Inline. Now, this is like, there's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which everyone knows, and then there's Dave Mara BMX, which, some people know. And then after that, there's, inline skating, and I guess Aggressive Inline was the game. Was there another Aggressive Inline? I know this box art quite well, but I'm trying to think, was there another video game based on the sport of Aggressive Inline? Now, this is actually timely because I've been having a little bit of a 90s throwback lately with this, where, I grew up in the era where skating was, skateboarding was pretty cool, and I definitely had a huge affinity and passion for BMX as a child. But Aggressive Inline, skating, inline skating, I knew about this. I had a pair of skates. I know how to skate. But this was by far the least interesting, compelling of the kind of street extreme sports, so to speak, of the 90s, early 2000s. So this one I have less of a knowledge of and a grip of. I just have less of a read on Aggressive Inline. So I didn't play this game, despite playing plenty of Tony Hawk and plenty of Dave Mara and sticking with those sports a little longer. Aggressive Inline is just the sport that I knew about it. I had a pair of skates, wasn't following so close. When the X Games rolled around, I wasn't paying attention to all the inline skate competitions and all the pros of that sport necessarily. So I don't know. Was this game good? Was it bad? Are there people who are deeply? Of course, the answer is yes. But are there people who are deeply nostalgic for Aggressive Inline, developed by Z-Axis Limited, rest in peace, published by Acclaim Entertainment, rest in peace, released for the original Xbox in the year 2002? I don't know. It looks like it had a pretty good critic score of 86. That was its aggregate score is 86, according to Moby Games here. But yeah, May 29, 2002. Man, I recognize this box art so much, but definitely never played this game. So, hey, welcome to Xbox On, everybody. Week 261, episode 261. Not going to sugarcoat it. This is definitely one of those calm before the storm type of weeks, because I kept checking the news hourly leading up to this recording today. I'm like, really nothing? We're really waiting for some more news to kind of round out the podcast. Unfortunately, it is going to be a pretty light news week in terms of things to discuss, but that's not going to stop us from wasting each other's time, talking about nonsense and getting into it like we do every week. I mean, you got this weekend is your weekend to catch up on Hellblade 2 if you haven't beaten it yet. Play some X Defiant, finish up that Fallout 4 playthrough you started a month ago when the TV show came out. Whatever it is you're working on, this is your weekend to get that all done, because next weekend, the 8th and the 9th, that's it, baby. Sunday, June 9th, Xbox. Phil Spencer's going to come out there on stage on this pre-recorded, this virtual stage on this pre-recorded game showcase, and he's gonna drop all the bombs on us. He's going to say, here's that State of Decay 3. Don't worry about Contraband. We got the gameplay reveal for you right here. The Initiative, we shut them down. Fuck Perfect Dark. We canceled it. And we're going to get all of our scoops, all of our trailers, all of our release dates. And I'm very much looking forward to having a huge trough full of Xbox news that's not speculative, it's not rumors, it's not layoffs and studio closures, it's not strategy shifting and bad news and all the price hikes and all that. It's just gameplay trailers, release dates, and good old Xbox hype for us to dig into and look forward to. So Very much looking forward to that. But I suspect not only this week, but next week will probably also be somewhat of a pretty light news week as we gear up for this major event. Now, that being said, this is Xbox we are talking about. They are no strangers to leaks, so I wouldn't be too surprised if in the next, 5-7 days or something like that, we get some major leak, some Reddit style. Here's everything that's going to be announced at Xbox's showcase next week. So, I don't know. If you're like me, maybe you want to lay low for a little bit, try to stay away from potential spoilers, because I like all that stuff being fresh and exciting for me in the moment. I hate when all these things leak right before they're about to be announced, because then it takes the sting off of it all. Listen, we're here to have fun, so be wary. Xbox has a long history of major leaks right before big reveals, so you might see some of that coming. We might have to talk about some of that next week on the show if that's what happens between now and then. But aside from that, we're just kind of coasting. We're just playing through our backlogs, wrapping up some things, getting ourselves poised and ready for Phil Spencer to boom, Halo Infinite 2 coming out next year. Boom, Gears 6 teaser trailer. Spoiler alert, Marcus Phoenix is into dudes now. But not just any dudes. He likes cog boys. He likes the cog. He likes the... Who knows? There's so much to look forward to. There's so many possibilities. I'm just excited to sit here alongside all of y'all and watch it unfold. So, let's start out this week's podcast. We got a little comment from Mr. Mike Clark. He says, Xbox On, the best Mountain Dew panhandler on the web, who just so happens to have the best Xbox-related podcast. Great show as always. I've been playing Hellblade 2 on the PC, and it is a technical showpiece. Final thoughts once I finish it, which shouldn't be much longer. LOL. Get it? Because it's a short game. Mike Clark, thank you for writing in. Happy week to you. We will talk about Hellblade in just a little bit here, as it is the game I have been playing, although we'll get to it. Just hold your thoughts, okay, Mike Clark? Keep it in your pants. Keep your thoughts in your head. We're getting there. You guys, we got some notable games releasing this week. 2 of them I want to point out here. First one, I'm actually I want to be excited about, but where's the fucking time? That first game being Hypercharge Unboxed. Now, this is a game that has been available on PC via Steam for quite a few years at this point. I want to say it's been like 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. I mean, this game has been out, for a minute. April 27, 2020 on PC. So it's taken 4 years, a little over 4 years. But finally available on Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles. They have, developer/publisher Digital Cyber Cherries, they have been teasing this game, hyping this game for consoles for a very long time. And I don't know what Xbox's involvement is with this, if any at all. But the fact that this isn't coming to PlayStation 4 and 5, or at least immediately, is kind of confusing. I mean, I don't think Xbox is involved, because this game did come to Nintendo Switch, I believe, or is coming to Nintendo Switch. But the fact that the fact that this is not on PlayStation confuses the hell out of me. But enough vagueness. Those of you wondering, what is Hypercharge Unboxed? Well, if you're involved in the Xbox community to any extent online, you've probably seen this game before, because, again, they have just been trying to hype this up forever. Hypercharge Unboxed is this awesome 1 to 4 player online FPS style game where it is basically just all these toy soldiers come to life, and you have these team deathmatch, objective-based FPS shooter game modes, multiplayer game modes, across these various environments as these toy army men. Now, there's a movie that was released, I want to say 1999, maybe 98, called Small Soldiers. If you've ever seen that movie, this game is basically that movie with a little bit of Toy Story come to life. That is, it's pretty fucking awesome, actually. It's just this excellent first-person shooter. There's a map where you're playing in a toy store. There's a map where you're playing in a kid's bedroom, basically like Andy from Toy Story's bedroom. There's a map that's like you're in the backyard. It's all that stuff, and you're these tiny toys, and the world is huge, just like in Grounded. But it's a first-person shooter, and it's actually a blast. I played a little bit of this on Steam a couple years ago, and my takeaway was, I can't wait for this to hopefully one day come to Xbox. I will play it there. And hey, here it's on Xbox, so I definitely plan on giving this game a purchase just to show my support. But aside from that, I can't promise I'm going to have much time, if any, in the near future to play this game. Because, I mean, dude, there's just so much. And if I wanted to play a multiplayer game right now, X Defiant just came out, and that's a really good game. And then, I'm still playing through Skur Ritual with all that Nazi Zombies goodness. So it's hard to find the time for you right now, Hypercharge Unboxed, but I'm glad that you were here. I'm glad that Xbox gamers now have access to your first-person shooting 90s loving goodness. And then not only is that coming, but speaking of 90s goodness, I guess this is vaguely related to that, Multiverses is finally out. It is on PC, Series X, Series S, what's it called? The Xbox One. This is that Warner Bros. Smash Brothers like game that came out. They did like the little beta thing, then it went away, and now it's back. And you can fight as all the characters you want. You can fight as Bugs Bunny, Scooby-Doo, the Iron Giant, Batman, whatever you want to do, and just knock each other's socks off. I'm not going to feign excitement for this. I have to note it because it is a game that got a lot of attention during its beta and all of that, and I know people enjoyed it for what it was. I don't give a shit about this game. I just feel obligated to let you know it is indeed now out. Hypercharge to clarify, is out as of Friday the 31st, but Multiverses is out now as of the time you're listening to this podcast. So go ahead, download these games, play these games, make them happen in your library, do as you please. But those are some notable games that are releasing this week. You guys, with that said, we move on into the mildly amusing stories. This is how we really kick off the week. We talk about some stories that are mildly amusing, get some small discussions going as we warm ourselves up for the big news of the week. I come to you this week with 2 updates, one good, one not so good. So let's start with the bad one first, and then we will get into the more positive news. So we had this story about 2 weeks ago, right? That Take-Two was going to shut down the Kerbal Space Program team, lay off the staff, blah, blah, blah. What is it? The other team, Roll 7, that does Ollie Ollie. They're going to do the same with that team. And then last week, word came out that they're like, we haven't announced any studio closures. That's not necessarily true. We haven't even talked about it. We just said that there's going to be some 5% reduction in work staff across all of Take-Two Interactive. And then IGN was like, can you confirm these layoffs and studio closures? And they're like, fuck you, we're not confirming shit. And now the Intercept Games, the team behind Kerbal Space Program 2, has come out and said, hey, we've been laid off. So according to a LinkedIn update, Quinn Duffy, who's a senior design manager on Kerbal Space Program 2, said that, quote, the team at Intercept Games will be laid off as of June 28th. So a great group will be out and looking for new roles, as will I. The future of Intercept Games has been uncertain for some time as the ongoing restructure of Take-Two Interactive has taken place. Now, the sad thing here is that these teams are so small, you almost wonder, it's just like, couldn't you just let these guys walk? Could you just give them like a buyout option or something? Why'd you have to shut them down altogether, considering that they've only owned these teams for a very brief moment in time? It's like you bought these guys and then you shut them down. They basically did nothing for you in the time that you owned them, and now they don't exist anymore. So a little bit of a moment just to say, shame on you, Take-Two, you kind of suck. And then you went ahead and tried to deny that any of this was happening, and then lo and behold, this is exactly what's happening. So an unfortunate update, but one we have to make nonetheless. The team is being let go. So it is safe to assume that the Roll 7 Ollie Ollie guys are probably also getting shut down and losing their jobs as well. So that original reporting seems to be standing out, as even though none of us would like that, for that to be the case. So that is our first update. Our second update, slightly more positive. Well, not slightly more, demonstrably more positive in nature. Activision has released the first trailer, a live-action trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is viewable online now. Additionally, Microsoft has officially confirmed reports that Black Ops 6 will be available day one with Game Pass. Now, this is an important part. Activision will fully reveal the game with gameplay and all on June 9th at their Xbox Showcase. They say, quote, we're excited to confirm that Game Pass members will be able to jump into Call of Duty Black Ops 6 day one on Game Pass, they said on Xbox Wire. As revealed last week, we will be having a special Xbox Game Showcase, followed by Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct on June 9th, where we will share even more details on what's coming with the all-new Call of Duty, get eyes on the first in-depth look at gameplay in this dark new chapter in the Black Ops series. So we'll stop there for a second. Now, this is great because it confirms something that has also been going back and forth for a while, so this is a big update here where we have concrete information saying, hey, Black Ops 6 is going to be in Game Pass. It's day one. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, you got the new Call of Duty game included. And this is so critical because I know someone in the Xbox community is always going to be willing or eager to jump to the many times Phil Spencer said, this isn't about Call of Duty. This isn't about whatever consolidating the market. This is about getting Xbox in the mobile space and getting a strong foothold with mobile by acquiring King and all that stuff. Yes, I'm sure they care about that. I'm sure that's worth noting, and that's part of the story, but bullshit that is the main contributing factor. We all know well and good that Call of Duty was the main reason to buy Activision, and from all of our perspective, it was like, wow, Xbox wants to get Call of Duty into Game Pass, because at that point, once you have something as big as Call of Duty, it's like, yeah, why the fuck wouldn't you be a Game Pass subscriber? It just means you're going to get Call of Duty every year included in your subscription. That is a great value. That's a great way to get tens of millions of new subscribers to draw over to Game Pass, hopefully. And it might be a great thing for the Xbox brand. So that's what it's always been about, and I think it's pretty easy to see that for Phil Spencer and the Xbox team. That's probably been their main draw, their main objective and vision for Activision being part of Xbox for the longest time, since this deal was initially struck up and announced. However, we've been able to get so much of this kind of glimpse behind the curtains lately, where Xbox and Activision, or rather Xbox and Activision / Microsoft, are having this pull back and forth over how they should handle these things. Should a game like Call of Duty go into Game Pass? All the money you're leaving on the table, what an absolute money sink. There's, now that they own Activision, there's so much pressure on Xbox to show returns on investment and to make money, and putting a game like Call of Duty in Game Pass is just such a great way to eat money and to bring nothing back. And so again, if you're letting a guy like Phil Spencer helm the ship and you're letting him play out his vision and everything, we put Call of Duty in Game Pass, you lose some money on it for a few years, and hopefully what this does is it draws millions of new subscribers to the service and helps grow it very quickly, very rapidly, and helps sell the value of the service to a great big new audience. If you're Satya Nadella and the rest of the Microsoft team, as well as Microsoft investors, you're probably like, I don't know that we want to put Call of Duty in Game Pass because it's a lot of money we're leaving on the table. Now, my theory is that what they're going to be doing here is they're gonna give Phil Spencer a year, maybe 2 years, put Call of Duty in Game Pass, and say, let's see how this does. And if it doesn't do big things for Game Pass, I think they immediately pull the plug on this and say, no fucking chance in hell are we doing this. Call of Duty is going to be sold a la carte. I think this is a 1 to 2 year testing kind of move they're going to pull, and that is all this is. If I'm correct in my thinking, best case scenario, unless this lights the world on fire and 20 million more people just run out and subscribe to Game Pass over Call of Duty, my guess is that if there is a way to keep Call of Duty in Game Pass, especially in a day one capacity, it's going to be the result of a new Game Pass tier that is significantly more expensive, that puts games like Call of Duty or a new Diablo game or a new Bethesda game in this ultra high tier where you got to pay a lot more money per month in order to get access to that day one, as opposed to your $17 a month Game Pass Ultimate that just currently gets you just about everything you could imagine. So that is my guess on the situation. Is that this is okay? We'll let you play out your test 1 time, 2 times. Although, again, at the same time, I feel like Microsoft has damaged Xbox so indelibly this past 6 months or so that I just don't know that Phil Spencer and the team can really play their vision out to its fullest and really see how things work out, because they've already started putting so many games on PlayStation. They've already confused the public so much with all these bombshell news stories and leaks and bad press and studio closures and layoffs, and now all this back and forth on like, will Call of Duty even be on Game Pass? I mean, I just think it's so much bad press and so much bad will being sent towards Xbox that it's like, I don't know, does putting Call of Duty in Game Pass day one really even do that much when people's faith in Xbox as a brand is so low already? So I don't know. Only time will tell on that. But as for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 itself, hey, this trailer is pretty cool in keeping with Black Ops history. Super badass alternate history kind of trailer where they got Bill Clinton, they got Margaret Thatcher, they got all these famous people, and they're doing all these like, it's like this live action, like, oh, they're talking about shit and history's a lie, everything you've been told is a lie. I'm like, this is cool. And I would love to see it taken to like a really extreme point where it's like, hey, every political official you've ever believed in is a lying fucking piece of shit, and the game's about how you can't trust the president, you can't trust any national leader, you can't trust the corporations, you can't. I'd love for it to be taken to like the nth degree, but judging how these games normally get played out, it'll be rolled back a little bit. I mean, Black Ops Cold War had like a pretty fucking badass live action reveal tonal piece too, about it was like know your history or be prepared to repeat it, and then they had Ronald Reagan for that game, and damn, it would have been so cool to do some good shit with that, but they kind of squandered that and ended up just focusing on fictional characters and not real political figures. But that's fine. Black Ops games are still historically the coolest Call of Duty games, and they always tell pretty compelling stories. Not always. I mean, Black Ops 3 does have a dog shit campaign, but Black Ops 1 and 2, World at War, Black Ops Cold War, and I'm very confident that this game with Raven Software still at the helm for the campaign, I think we're going to get another really badass Call of Duty. And I'm just excited because the team did such a great job with Black Ops Cold War's campaign, despite the development hell that game went through and the limited time they had to make it, that with this game having had a full 4-year development cycle and seemingly, at least according to reports, not being a development nightmare, just being a proper collaborative 4-year full cycle development between Treyarch and Raven, I feel like this game has the potential to be the most robust, fully fleshed out, fully envisioned Black Ops game we've seen pretty much since the OG Black Ops 1 and 2 days. And so I'm just very excited to see a campaign that is as good as, if not better than, Black Ops Cold War's campaign, hopefully without a very abrupt ending like Black Ops Cold War had. I'm excited to see where they take the story, because these stories are getting a lot more crazy. I love this like government espionage, like alternate history shit they're doing set during events of real world events. I think that's just super cool. I love the whole idea of like the Cold War. This was the real enemy behind pulling the strings, and this fictional task force that is trying to take down this bad guy among events that are relatable and understandable because they really did happen in real life. And I love the idea of taking that and now trying it in the Gulf War setting. So I'm just very hyped for this game overall. I'm a big Black Ops fan, as you know if you've been listening to this podcast for a while. Call of Duty, cool. Call of Duty Black Ops, super cool. So I'm looking forward to it. I do find it a little bit weird and pedantic on some level, though, that they're back to like the Black Ops logo where like the number is orange and the background is black, and like they got the cover art with like the guy with the 2 pistols crossed and everything. Because even though that's kind of cool to see that iconography and font style and color scheme come back and return, for the first time since Black Ops 4, it's kind of confusing and tonally inconsistent, because Black Ops Cold War bucked the trend by being like, there's no more numbers, it's just Black Ops : new name. And they had a different font color, they had a different color scheme, they had different kind of box art and all that, and now they're just going straight back like this is like Black Ops Cold War never happened. And my only thing with that is it's just kind of weird, because it's like Black Ops was World War II into the Cold War, or into like Vietnam, and then went into like near future with like 2025, then it went into like far future, and then it went into slightly rolled back but still the future, and then it went back into Cold War era, and now it's going back into, or now it's going past the Cold War into the 1990s, but we're switching the styles again to reflect like the futuristic games. So now the box art and the font and the naming convention, everything looks very Black Ops 3 and 4, like this is going to be the far-flung future, but we're tonally stuck, we're more in like a sequel to Black Ops Cold War kind of thing. So I feel like the way that from a marketing perspective, the numbering, the font style, the color scheme, the box art is totally inconsistent. But I think that's going to prove to not be important at all whatsoever, because I think at the end of the day, people are just going to see Black Ops. They're going to know, hey, that's the Call of Duty I like. They're going to buy the game. It's going to sell a bajillion units. People are going to subscribe to Game Pass to play it, and it's going to be a good time. So I'm very excited to see the gameplay reveal. I know a lot of people hate on Call of Duty, but it's important to mention, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, all these different developers, they are completely different developers, and they all bring something different to the table. And to have Raven Software get the budget and the time and the talent to be able to really flex their muscles and do what they want to do, I think is really important. And this is going to be their first Call of Duty where they've really had the proper time to flesh out and do something all their own. And so I really think this is, Call of Duty's had some stellar campaigns over the years. I really think this one's going to be special just by virtue of having all of those stars align in that way. So I really am, from that perspective, looking forward to this. So anyway, cool. Some positive news, some more stuff to look forward to. We'll talk about that not next week, but the week after, once we've seen it at the reveal showcase. And hopefully for now we can just kind of keep our mouths shut, because there's not really much more to talk about until we get that gameplay. So that is Black Ops 6, which is the first Call of Duty that's really going to be like an Xbox game. I know like they kind of bought Call of Duty right as Modern Warfare 3 was launching, but this is going to be the first one that they can like totally hijack and kind of market their own way. So cool, I guess. All right, and speaking of Activision, let's wrap up with this last story of Model Amusement. Activision's prevailed in a lawsuit against the makers of a popular Call of Duty cheat system. As spotted by VentureBeat, federal court has awarded $14.5 million judgment to the publisher in a lawsuit against engine-owning Garnats Enterprise Limited and 11 individuals. The defendants were also ordered to pay $293,000 in attorney fees, while the court issued a permanent injunction against the cheaters' website. So that's like devastating money. Filed in 2022, the lawsuit alleged that German-based Engine Ownings is engaged in the development, sale, and distribution and marketing and exploitation of a portfolio of malicious cheats and hacks for popular online multiplayer games, most prominently the Call of Duty franchise. Engine Ownings cheats, according to the website, included auto-aiming, auto-firing, and showing the locations of other players for prices ranging from about €4.50 per day or for a 3-day access to €40 for a 3-month access. Activision has argued that the cheats have caused it to suffer massive and irreparable damages to the goodwill and reputation and to lose substantial revenue. So this is actually one time where I am going to be like, oh, poor big business. I hope you guys win. And I'm glad to see them win because, yeah, this shit fucking sucks. I mean, I know there was a similar story in the past year or so with a different cheat website and cheat protocol that was affecting Destiny, where Bungie was also able to win out on that lawsuit as well. Where, listen, man, it just fucking sucks. If you're some asshole company, I don't care how small you are or how much it could financially ruin you to get in trouble for this. Like, listen, if your whole thing is like, we sell the ability for people to fucking break games and ruin other players' enjoyment of them, like, fuck you, man. People are able to go to this website and pay for access so that they can break Call of Duty basically, and then just like see everyone on the map and be invincible and do all these ridiculous nonsensical things and break the game. Like, fuck you, you suck. Like, how many times have we all like been pissed off or raged at a game because cheaters, hackers, nonsense like that? I mean, you make gaming less fun. It's like, why would you take something as lighthearted and non-serious as a pastime like video games and try to make it to where only some people get to have fun, everyone else has a bad time, even though we're all paying the same amount to be here, we're all struggling through the same day-to-day just to hopefully get some time to relax and chill out a little bit. So like, yeah, I mean, if you're a company, I don't care how small you are, I don't care how much you have to lose or how much it's going to devastate you and ruin you. If you fucking help others, aid others in breaking the game and ruining others' fun for profit, fuck you. It brings me joy to see you completely financially devastated by a move like this. And it's awesome to see a large company like Activision win out, because you fucking suck and you should, you should go to the fucking Call of Duty Warzone gulag, not because the gulag is where people go to eat shit and die, but more importantly because Call of Duty Warzone sucks, and yeah, you suck, so fuck you. All right, that's a feel-good story if you ask me. That's it for our opening news stories, you guys. Let's jump into the games I've been playing this week before I get into the main news. But before I tell you about the games I've been playing this week, I want to real quick tell you about what I've been eating. And it's an exciting one, you guys, because I'm coming fresh off the heels this very day I'm talking to you. Long time coming. Your boy has finally come to Raising Cane's chicken. I've eaten the chicken from Raising Cane's, and I'm here to talk to you all about it now. Raising Cane's, you might be thinking to yourself, Jesse, wasn't there something about you in this restaurant a long time ago? Yes. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that Raising Cane's used to come up all the time. People would write in and say, Jesse, how do you know the best fast food chicken if you ain't ever been to Raising Cane's? And I said, stupid you, we don't have Raising Cane's here. But we do have Raising Cane's here. Now, in this day and age, we do. I'd say about 6-8 months ago, something like that, they opened a Raising Cane's here in Orlando. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to finally be able to try this place. So I figured I'd give it a couple months, wait for the hype to die down, because in Orlando, if they'll open like a fucking Kroger grocery store for the first time, and every goddamn Disney vlogger and Universal vlogger would be like, "What's up, mates? Harry Potter vlogger 69 here, ready to check out Raising Cane's in Orlando, they'll fucking ruin your day. There's lines of influencers and Instagrammers, and every fucking resident in the state of Florida will show up at a fast food restaurant on day one to try and be the first one there, to eat the first cheeseburger, to be diagnosed with diabetes before anyone else. And it's just not a good time. So whenever we get like a new fast food chain, White Castle comes to Florida for the first time, whatever it is, you gotta sit back for a while and be like, okay, I'm fat, but I'm not that fat. And you just wait a couple months. You let all the fucking influencers and TikTokers eat their shit and show off to their 5,000 subscribers. Ooh, look at me, I'm dipping the tender in the sauce. Let them do their thing. And then you swoop in when they're done with that, and you go, okay, I can just eat here like a regular fucking human. Especially lucky for me, though, Raising Cane's, when they came to Florida a couple months ago, it wasn't enough for them to be like, hey, we're going to open a new location in Orlando and see how that does for us. They were like, nah, bitch, we're going to open like 40 of these motherfuckers within like a 50-mile radius. And so from where I live, they've opened like 3 or 4 Raising Cane's in the past couple of months. And so I was able to go to one that's only like 20 minutes from where I live. And I must say, having finally tried it, good shit. It's good shit. Now, is Raising Cane's the end-all be-all? For those who don't have context, because most of the world doesn't have access to Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's is a fast food chicken restaurant that is basically just like Zaxby's. And for those who don't know what Zaxby's is, I can't fucking help you. Look it up. It's a chicken tender focused fast food chicken restaurant. You get, you get the tray, you get the little box. It's like a couple chicken tenders, crinkle cut French fries, and then usually they have some kind of signature sauce. They'll throw in like a piece of Texas toast or bread in there. I grew up eating Zaxby's. I'm very familiar with Zaxby's. It's very much the same thing. There's the Zaxby's sauce. It's a zesty kind of creamy sauce. You dip your chicken in. You get the crinkle cut French fries that are never very good because crinkle cut fries are the worst. You get a piece of bread. Sometimes you get some coleslaw, whatever. So Raising Cane's, same thing, same exact setup. I'm very familiar with what to expect here. And my expectations are, Zaxby's, pretty good. I like Zaxby's a fair bit. Raising Cane's will probably be about as good. But everyone flips their shit and says this place is like the second coming of Christ. So I'm not expecting for it to be as good as people are saying, but at the same time, I'm expecting it to be pretty good. So we got their classic tray, their number one combo, which is 4 chicken tenders, a side of their signature sauce, some coleslaw, some French fries, also crinkle cut, and what else? And a piece of bread, like toasted buttery bread to go with it. Now, I bite into this shit, and what is my immediate reaction? First of all, I gotta knock Raising Cane's a couple points for the same reason I knock Chick-fil-A every time I talk about Chick-fil-A. They have one of these establishments where they pride themselves so much on the customer service that it makes me not want to eat there. The guy at the counter, big smile on his face. Hello, sir. How are you doing today? What can I get for you? You order a drink. And they have self-serve beverage fountain just like any fast food would. So, you go over there, you fill up your ice, you pick your drink, you fill up your drink. But when you order a drink here, they insist on having the guy scoop ice into the cup for you, give you the cup with ice in it, and then you can go pour your drink. Even though the place you're about to go to anyway to pour your drink has a fucking ice machine. So they don't need to do that. They don't need to get ice for me, but they do it anyway. It's an extra level customer service that I hate. The guy's super friendly. Halfway through our meal, the manager walks by. It's like, how's everything over here, guys? You enjoying your food? Wow, thanks for coming. We're really glad you're here. Have a great day. I'm like, I understand when you go to like a steakhouse where it's like, like when you're going out to dinner with your girl and you're about to drop like $200 to $300, and the manager touches all the tables and goes, how's everything over here? Are we having a nice meal? Excellent. If there's anything we can get for you, just let us know. Thank you so much for being. I understand that in a restaurant, but when I'm paying fucking $9.74 for a chicken platter out of a styrofoam box, I don't need you asking me if you can wipe my ass. I don't need you asking me, where I'm visiting from. Okay, stop being so nice. It makes me uncomfortable. You're not getting paid enough to be this nice of a human being. Go sit behind the counter, hide, pretend you're not here, play on your phone. And we can all go about our business, okay? So, gotta knock them a little bit for that. I don't like the over-the-top nice customer service. It always makes me feel a little uncomfortable. I don't like feeling served. I like feeling like a total fucking nuisance when I come into a fast food restaurant. Like the "what do you want" kind of attitude. That's what I look for. Anyway, back to the food. The food is good. It's pretty good. It is. It's kind of exactly what I expected. Is it better than Zaxby's? Yeah, I'd say it is. If people are freaking out about this restaurant because like they're comparing it to Zaxby's, Raising Cane's is like a little bit better than Zaxby's. If Zaxby's is like an 8.5 out of 10, Raising Cane's is like a 9.1 out of 10. It's like, it's better. It's enough better that you'll be like, it's enough of an improvement over Zaxby's that you'll notice it and say, yeah, I think this is a little better than Zaxby's, but it's not so much better that it's like, Zaxby's is shit and this place is incredible. You know, it's fine. If you like one, you'll like the other. The sauce, very good. The chicken, I think the breading is phenomenal. It's the best part about it. It's very flaky and crusty, while not being too oily. The chicken is fine, flavorful, delicious. The breading has a good flavor to it. The fries are shit, like every restaurant like this is, because they are crinkle cut, and crinkle cut should be made illegal. I think the federal government should ban crinkle cut French fries, so those are shit. The Texas toast, the buttered toast they give you with the platter, phenomenal, very, very good. Take a chicken tender, take the toast, combine them, pour some sauce on it. That's a good fucking bite right there. You're going to have a great time with that. Coleslaw. I'm not much of a coleslaw fan. I'll eat it if it's there, but I don't go out of my way for it. I thought this coleslaw was very coleslaw-like, you know, which is to say I ate a couple bites of it and then left it alone because I'm not all about that. And so overall, they also make their own in-house sweet tea. It was pretty good. Not too sweet. I don't like that McDonald's over-the-top sweetness. So I like it pulled back a little bit. I don't like it too Southern style. So I thought their sweet tea was pretty damn good. So overall, place was really clean. The interior decorations was kitschy and fun. The chicken tenders were great. The sauce was great. The bread was great. Crinkle cut fries can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. I'd say Raising Cane's was a big success. I'll go back. I think my platter was like $10. I thought that was a great price. My girlfriend liked it a lot. I'll go back. So after, I think it's been about 4 years now since this podcast had its big, what, you've never been to Raising Cane's kind of moment? Yeah, so now I have been to Raising Cane's, and my reaction is, I'll take it over Zaxby's, but I'll still eat Zaxby's. I like Zaxby's. Raising Cane's, you are 2 thumbs up from me. Now, in the grand scheme of fast food chicken, are you the best of the best? No. I still like Popeyes. Now, Popeyes is boned-in chicken. That's a different story. There's a time and place. I still think Popeyes is a little better. That blackened ranch sauce is god tier. But there's room for Raising Cane's. You can hop in the pool. There's, maximum occupancy is 24 people. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only about 6 of us in here. So Raising Cane's, you come on in. KFC, you still suck ass. You're still the worst fast food chicken restaurant in the goddamn universe. So, yep, finally did it. Popped my Raising Cane's cherry. Was it worth the hype? Is it as good as the influencers have said? Is it as good as all the people who used to write in and be like, oh, go try Raising Cane's. You've never had Raising Cane's. Calm the fuck down. I had it now. It's very good. I will be back. It's close enough to where I live. It's close enough to Disney is the thing, really. Because where it's situated, the one in Kissimmee, where it's situated, I could like pop right out of Animal Kingdom, and be at Raising Cane's in like 4 minutes. So I'll do it. I'll go back. I'll eat there again. I'm just not, whoa. Now that's it for what I've been eating. You guys, it's time to talk about what I've been playing, and you're probably thinking to yourselves, well, Jesse, it's got to be Hellblade 2, right? Well, yeah, it's Hellblade 2. I've been playing Hellblade 2. Here's the thing is, there's a reason I was at Raising Cane's. And it's because we had family visiting. My girlfriend had all of her sisters, her aunt. We had a lot of people here, okay? It was the first time we hosted people at our house. My house was very full of other humans. Both my cat and I felt very uncomfortable with the limited amount of space we had to move around and just exist in our own home. It was nice. It was a good visit. We had lots of people over. It was a fun time. It was good to see people. But because of that, for the past 4 days, I haven't really played a goddamn video game. I was hell-bent on getting to some Hellblade because, listen, man, I can't go 2 weeks in a row without playing this game. I had to check it out. So I did play some Hellblade. I probably played 2 hours of it. So probably about 3 hours left before I roll credits. So we'll talk about Hellblade, but I just want to preface with all that to say I would have been done with this game already. It's just that I'm not going to be an asshole and have my whole girlfriend's family over. And then they're just like, oh, hey, Jesse, what's this you doing? Shut up. Everybody shut up. I'm trying to listen to binaural audio. This woman in this video game is going through psychosis, and I need to listen to her problems, okay? So everyone stop catching up. Stop eating dinner together. I'm trying to play Hellblade 2 to see if it's really a 7 out of 10 like like this guy on Metacritic says it is, so I don't know. I just didn't get to play that much of it. But all right, here we go. Initial impressions. First hour of the game put me to sleep. I booted it up. It did a little recap of the first game, which I'm very appreciative of because I absolutely forgot everything about the first game. Listened to the recap and was already like, hey, I'm starting to fall asleep. Keep in mind, I started this game after work, after a long day of work at about 9:30 at night. So I'm sitting in the living room. All the lights are off. It's dark outside, playing the game. And it's doing the recap. And they're talking all European like. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, yep, Senua, you went through a lot. And then the game starts. I'm like, okay, shake your head. Let's stay awake. Let's get through the first hour of this game. I'm sure it's going to get really exciting really fast. The first 45 minutes to 1 hour of gameplay, I would say, in this game is just an absolute slog. It is just take your thumb, press up on the analog stick, and just watch. Just fucking watch. You are crawling around the mud. You're slipping between rocks. There's just ladies yelling in your head. Oh, nobody likes you. You're a fucking loser. Loser. We think she's a loser, right? And it's like, they sound so European. Shut up. And, it's like, I dealt with it the first time when we played the first game, but now it's a little annoying. Like, the stick is up. Like, let's shut the fuck up for a second. So first hour, not really feeling it. So I just gave up, went to bed. And then the next day, before we had to go to the airport to pick up my girlfriend's family, I'm like, you know what? I got to get another hour of this game down because I'm sure I'm going to like this game. I'm not, yesterday I was tired. It was a long day of work. Today I'm rested. Let's do this. So I sit down to play another hour of Hellblade. And thankfully I had the exact opposite reaction I had the first night, where the second hour, I liked it a whole lot more. You get into some combat. You capture this guy, you put a chain around him, he's your prisoner, which is pretty cool. You got a prisoner now, okay. Doing some puzzle solving, slipping around some more mud. The game opens up a lot. The thing I'll say about this game right off the bat is the same thing you're going to hear from everyone else. Probably the most beautiful looking game I've ever seen in my life, although I will say there's some moments when you're like sloshing around the water where the water just looks so shitty compared to absolutely everything else. And it's just kind of a funny contrast, but overwhelmingly, especially during combat, I mean, this is probably the most striking looking video game ever made as of right now, at least. So beautiful looking game. That doesn't mean shit to me though. Like, I can admire that and appreciate that, but at the end of the day, if your game's not a great video game, who gives a shit how pretty it is? And also, when 90% of your game is hold the analog stick forward, it's not as impressive to make that game look immaculate as making a game like, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto look immaculate. So I'm not to diminish how good the game looks. It does look phenomenal. It's just I was still able to fall asleep while playing the game when it looked beautiful. So let's focus a little more on the gameplay. That being said, the combat in this game is so cool. It's so smooth. I wish it was more frequent and a little more dynamic. I wish there was a little bit more going on, because what combat there is in this game is just it feels so good and it looks so good. The way like all the animations just click and mesh together, like when you're dodging versus when you're attacking versus when they're attacking versus when they're pulling back, and how all of those animations tie together so beautifully, constantly made me feel like I wasn't even the one playing the game. Like the game just knew, no matter what input I was going to pick, it just knew how to make everything transition beautifully from one thing to another. And there's never any kind of movement that indicates like this is a video game. It just always looks like a movie in motion. And it's just, it's beautiful. Like the combat is so stunning to watch while it happens that it makes the very rudimentary, like light attack, heavy attack, dodge system so much fun to engage with. And I gotta say, like, the best part of this game so far by a long shot is the combat. I just wish there was more of it. Again, I'm 2 hours in, and I've only really encountered one major point of combat. That being said, the puzzles in this game are basically copy and paste puzzles from the first game. From what I can remember, it's like, here's a shape, go find it. And you walk around the environment until you find objects that line up and kind of look like that shape. And then you focus on it, and then a door magically unlocks. And then the voices in your head are like, you did it, Senua. Senua, you did it. Go through the door, you must. The door is where she must go. She's not going to go through the door. She can't go through the door. She's a fucking loser. And then I'm like, shut up, stupid voices. Like, I understand it's supposed to make me sympathize with someone going through psychosis, because it makes you go crazy trying to, like, deal with what they have to deal with. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not really sympathetic to someone with this mental disability. I'm a little more like just irritated by it at this point, because I don't know. I feel like so far the game has made no point or done nothing to make me like feel like narratively this is a game that needed to exist, which is kind of like what my criticism or doubt of this game has been since the day it was announced, which is just not sure that Hellblade was a game that needed a sequel. And now 2 hours into the game, my knee-jerk reaction is prettiest game I've ever played. Combat's pretty good. I wish there was more of it. Game's overall a little boring. Not really sure why this game exists. And so far, again, I still got 3 to 4 hours left of this game to go. I'm not going to pass final judgment on it yet. The game is kind of exactly what I thought it would be, which is not too promising or encouraging. But I will say this. By the time I was done with that second hour, the one I was enjoying, I was pretty bummed out that I had to stop what I was doing, turn off the Xbox, clean up the house, get ready to have guests over, because I wanted to keep playing. I wanted to see where things were going. And so even though I wasn't engrossed in this game in the way I was, say, 2 months ago when I was playing Wasteland 3, even though this game hasn't been on my hype list the way a game like Avowed is, I don't know. In that moment, I was enjoying the game quite a bit, and I am excited now that I'm recording this podcast freshly off of dropping everyone off at the airport. I'm looking forward to getting back in and playing this game again. So by the time you hear me next week, for sure I'll be done with this game and I'll be able to render some final thoughts on it. But as of right now, I must say, the game's not bad. In fact, I think I might even like it, but it is absolutely every bit as unnecessary as I said I felt this game would be. That being said, if your objective was just to make a game that's very, very pretty, I don't know, man. You guys had like 6-7 years to make this game. You had Xbox money. I know Ninja Theory is not a very large team. They're a pretty medium-sized studio, and they didn't staff up that much from the time they were independent versus the time they were acquired by Microsoft. And I know they have other projects they're working on, so not everyone there is working on Hellblade. It's just 6-7 years. This is what you had to show. It's like, yeah, you made a really nice on-rails tech demo for a game that didn't need a sequel. So I really hope no one here gets laid off. I really hope you guys get to justify your existence and that whatever you make next, it's not Hellblade 3. Because I'd really love to see you guys do something else. Because I know you're capable of very good games. I would love to see you do something that's a little more gameplay focused. Because I think that's what the world would really appreciate from you the most. But again, I'm also the guy who's always saying, let the artist create what they want to make. And if Hellblade 3 is what you really want to make, I don't get you, but more power to you. So that's it for what I've been playing really this week. I'm playing a little Fallout 4. There were moments where we're all sitting in the living room watching Netflix, people just chatting and all that. I was able to sneak a little bit of Fallout 4 on my Logitech G Cloud and stuff like that. But aside from that, I haven't really been playing games this week, so we don't have to really get into anything else. But a couple of you did write in about Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, so let's read those comments right now. First up, Mike Clark says, just rolled credits on Hellblade 2, and I have a few comments to make. Apologies, Jesse, this might get lengthy. First, I'd like to applaud Ninja Theory for releasing a video game that in such a stable state on PC, a feature that many Western developers find challenging. I played from start to finish without a hiccup on a modest PC, an i5 3080, running on the high settings at 1440p at 60 FPS. No crashes, no bugs. Ninja Theory deserves a round of applause. Now, Mike Clark, I don't mean to be a dick, but just as a side note, I mean, the game's basically on rails, so even though that is impressive that the game works perfectly, and I don't mean to take that away from them, it's like, they didn't create like a terribly highly intricate open world game with lots of interactivity or anything like that. I mean, it's just you're pressing forward on an analog stick for 6 hours. He said there's a distinct separation between games that are gameplay centric and those that are narrative driven. Senua is neither a superhero like Spider-Man nor a deity like Kratos. She is a self-trained warrior. She is on a personal journey, and it's beautifully mirrored in both the artwork and notably the sound design. I'm generally not keen on walking simulator games, yet this series manages to strike a balance between where you're rarely walking in silence without something captivating to observe. It intentionally and meticulously has designed pacing that serves as a model that many open world games could learn from. It would be unjust to evaluate this game based on what it lacks. It's not flawless. The gameplay could be enhanced. Puzzle elements could be improved without distracting from its narrative. Nevertheless, it's a AA game with 80 devs or so working on it, and it's comfortably securing an 8 out of 10 from me. I hope that Ninja Theory will continue to thrive and not face closures or layoffs for failing to meet some arbitrary benchmark set by Phil and his team, or relegated to the Call of Duty mines. Such an event would indeed give a whole new meaning to Senua's sacrifice. Now that is a funny point. I like that wording there, buddy. Good shit. Now, this is an agree to disagree type of moment for me, Mike Clark. Again, I haven't rendered a final verdict. I haven't played the game all the way through like you have, and I'm very glad to hear you're liking it. You know, at the end of the day, games are here to be enjoyed, and if you enjoyed the game, that's really all that fucking matters. So it does bring me joy to know that it was a good time for you. That being said, it's funny how you and I are so opposite here, because so far, while I'm into this game and I know I'm going to beat it and I'm going to play it through and hopefully find more to enjoy than what I found so far, I am a walking sim fan. I love these kinds of narrative-based games. I love all the way back to like Gone Home, where this genre kind of really popped off in this indie space in a way that we kind of understand it in modernity, to games like Tacoma, to games like What Remains of Edith Finch and Virginia, and all these types of games, and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I played tons of these kinds of games, and I generally love these games like quite a lot, actually. I love Firewatch. I love these games because I think they speak to they are the video games that speak to me in a way that generally only like novels are able to speak to me, where they can have those kind of gut punch, like oh fuck moments, where they can tell very human stories, and they can have just like gut wrenching moments, and it can be all about the characters and the narrative, and it can be thought provoking, and it can be artistic, and it can be, you know, poignant and profound in a way that a lot of video games simply aren't, because when your game has to be so combat focused and gameplay focused and jumping focused, what you end up telling 9 times out of 10 is just your run-of-the-mill blockbuster action style story. And while I have no problem with that, there are tons of great games like that. It's, you know, for as much as I loved Black Ops Cold War, a game we were just talking about a little bit ago, right? There's no Call of Duty that's ever told a story that's made me stop and go, fuck, man, that story was, damn, that moment really stuck with me. Or like when so-and-so said this, or like at the end when like you think this is going to happen and then everything just falls apart and so-and-so's just left there like completely fucked. And, you know, like, you know, human stories. When stuff like that happens, when stuff like that happens in games, it's generally from these walking simulator type of narrative-driven experiences, and not so much the gameplay-driven ones. Don't get me wrong, gameplay-driven video games can have great video games. There are plenty of examples of those that do have great stories, but Hellblade 2 is not one of those games for me, or at least not so far it isn't. I don't know, maybe it's just because I generally find the setting and the time period to be kind of annoying, and because I feel like this is a sequel to a game that didn't warrant a sequel, or something like that. So I'm just a little less like receptive and open-minded to this idea of it being a compelling character-driven story. But like, I don't remember a moment in the first Hellblade, and so far have not experienced a moment in the second Hellblade where I felt like, oh yeah, this is a story that justifies this genre of game we're getting here. Where I feel like a game like Hellblade could just fucking be a badass hack and slash action game, and I can enjoy it so much more because the character development and the story, even from the first game, just didn't emotionally move me enough for me to be like, yes, I think holding straight on the analog stick for 6 hours justified itself because of the payoff we got from this narrative. Again, if that's what you took away from it, that's amazing. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth and say, yeah, that's what you took away from it, or yeah, that's exactly why you like this game, or that's exactly how you feel about it. But if there are people who feel like this game is narratively profound, and that this is a medium of interactivity that serves this story, then that's wonderful. But to me, the first Hellblade wasn't that, and so far the second Hellblade has not been that. And so I don't see it as a great video game from a gameplay perspective, nor do I see it as a great video game from a narrative perspective so far. And I think that's kind of my hang up. Is it's a beautiful tech demo. It has some fun combat. It's pretty to look at. I acknowledge that the sound design is masterfully done, but I am not getting a deep satisfaction from the gameplay mechanics or from the narrative so far. And so what is there for me to really glean onto with this game? And that's kind of the hang up I have with Hellblade as a whole. But again, we still got a few more hours to go. Hopefully things turn around for me. We'll see. Mike Clark, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And also, hey, Headhunting Halo played the game as well. He says, I have beaten Hellblade 2 since my wife is gone all the time ever. And I even beat Fist as well as Hellblade 2. It was okay. I like the first one better. I do love Plague's Tale a whole lot more, and Requiem is even better than that. I say this because Hellblade reminds me of such. I'll take Black Ops 6 over Modern Warfare 2. Also, pre-order Assassin's Creed Shadows Gold Edition. Long live the Brotherhood. Have a great week, everyone. I do see a lot of people comparing a game like Hellblade to a game like Plague Tale. Now, Plague Tale is another game I is on the backlog, never played it, but I know people are comparing it because similar like team size, making games that are similarly of like kind of this like narrative driven experience, but with lighter gameplay. From my understanding as someone who hasn't played it, is that Plague Tale is a little bit more gameplay driven. It's very stealthy, but it is more gameplay driven than a game like Hellblade, and that their gameplay mechanics are not necessarily one-to-one, but the idea of these medium-sized teams making these more narrative driven, lighter on the gameplay kind of poignant stories type of deals is like I understand where the connection comes from. I understand how you could look at the two and see like people who like one might be into the other. So it's not necessarily that this game's exactly like this game, but it's that this game might have a similar audience, or people who like one might be interested in the other type of deal. And I could see that happening. That being said, from what I've seen, yeah, Plague Tale looks like a game that kind of justifies its narrative and its gameplay a little more. But again, that's just based on pure ignorance and just having seen some videos. But same thing, when they made Plague Tale Requiem, I also had a little bit of that feeling as well, where I'm like, I didn't play the first one, so I don't know where the story goes and how it ends, but is that a game that needs a sequel, or was that a game that could have wrapped itself up in one entry, or where are we? Because I think, aren't they going to make a third Plague Tale game as well? Isn't that supposed to be a trilogy? So, listen, I don't know, man. I understand games are expensive as hell to make these days, and when you create a world and an IP that works, you'd be financially irresponsible not to go back to the well and do another entry or two before you move on to the next new thing. So I don't begrudge developers and publishers for taking this route. I'm just saying, in the case of Hellblade, the game really felt like it didn't need a sequel. And that's just my honest to God opinion. But you guys, that's it for what I've been playing this week. Hopefully next week when we talk about Hellblade again, we got some more positive news. But in the meantime, let's take a quick break, come back to the news, and then we'll see what's going on in the world of Xbox. All right, let's jump into the news. Like I said, not much going on here. We got two stories to talk about, but this first one is pretty exciting because we've got some news on what the next Doom game will be. That's right. We're expecting a new Doom reveal during the Xbox Showcase on June 9th. What was I saying at the top of the show? That next week we might be talking about leaks and things that were already revealed and teased ahead of time. Here we are. We already got one. But this one's been circulating for a while. I know a lot of notable people in the Xbox community have been saying, like, I know something about the next Doom game, so we kind of knew something was going to come sooner or later about this game, but here we go. It's not too much. It's not like we have leaked gameplay videos or anything like that, but from Insider Gaming, that's right, the original source of the leak of this news, Insider Gaming understands that the next game in the Doom franchise is set to be revealed during the Xbox's Game Showcase on June 9th. The game, which is yet to be publicly named, was given a codename or placeholder title, Year Zero, and is understood to have a final name, Doom: The Dark Ages, and has been in development for the last 4 years since Doom Eternal released. Last year, Insider Gaming heard of early details of the next entry in the Doom franchise, which was described as a medieval-inspired Doom world. While it doesn't necessarily give much info as to what the game will be by the Year Zero or the Dark Ages, a medieval-inspired starts to paint a vivid picture of where the series could go next. Perhaps we'll be taking an early look at the Doomslayer's life during the medieval times, a prequel of sorts, who knows. Earlier in the year, rumors began to swirl around that the next Doom game would follow Bethesda's newly registered trademark, IDKFA, a well-known cheat code in the series. Last month, The Verge's Tom Warren teased that Doom would be making its way to the Xbox Game Showcase, a rumor that we can now independently verify. So, Jez Corden was also talking about the story as well, so it's pretty safe to say that there's a new Doom game. We're going to see it next Sunday at the Xbox Showcase. It's probably called Doom Year Zero or The Dark Ages, and it's probably a Doom game set in the Middle Ages, which is kind of badass. I love the idea of Doom taking this kind of Evil Dead approach, where it's like you got the first one, you got the second one, and then fuck it, for the sake of being badass, let's just time warp you to some other place and time. So this idea of taking this like Doom Slayer guy who goes to hell and back and fights demons, and just being like, all right, now it's the Middle Ages and there's demons and there's dragons and there's all this cool shit. It's like, yeah, man, that's badass. I feel like that's one of those ways you take something, make it new again, and make it also totally acceptable, make sense, because Doom is over the top, and who gives a shit about the story, and who gives a shit about what makes sense and with whether or not this would be practical or that. Doom is one of those things where it's all about aesthetic, sounds, action, the sensation, and the connective combat and all that stuff. And when it just looks and sounds and feels good and cool, then you're having a good time and you know you're playing Doom. So I love the idea of this. I think the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages is the kind of perfect place to take the Doom series, to do something new and fresh with it. And I very much look forward to this. So I don't know, man. I feel like, yeah, this is going to be a great this is going to be a great way to do Doom again without it feeling like, all right, now, you know, the first one was cool. Second one was really cool. They evolved with the formula with some new mechanics. But, like, how do you do it again? Because I feel like a lot of trilogies of games generally run into this, where it's like, one was a great first attempt, 2 really perfected the formula, and then 3 felt like more of 2. I feel like this is a great way to make a third entry that doesn't feel like just more of this second game. You know, flip the script on the setting and everything, and I think that's a great way to do it. There's a lot of things you could do with it. You give him a badass sword. You could do a cool, I don't know, it'd be cool if you could somehow introduce a weapon that is, you know, a shield-like weapon, but you make it not about defensive or blocking, because it's kind of antithetical to Doom. Doom's all about constantly killing things, constantly shredding through things. So, I don't know, take a shield and use it as a melee weapon, or use it to deflect enemy shots and make them kill themselves and explode themselves. I don't know, do something with the shield to make it still very kinetic and fast-paced and ridiculous and action-heavy, while incorporating those, like, typical medieval weapons or instruments that you expect to see. I feel like that'd be badass. So yeah, I mean, I feel good about this game. The only thing that I want to say about this game, aside from like, oh yeah, I'm talking it up because it sounds cool and it hasn't been announced yet and there's no gameplay to go off of, the only thing I want to say about this game from a broader scope is that I think this is going to be probably the first game we see come from Xbox where they're just going to outright be like, and it's coming to PlayStation. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to say, and it's coming to PlayStation at this event on June 9th, but I would not be surprised if this game gets announced at that event and during the splash screen it says, coming to day 1 to Game Pass or whatever. And then after the showcase, like within an hour of the showcase, you see like the PlayStation YouTube channel also uploads the trailer for this game. And the, you know, PlayStation Twitter account is like, announcing Doom The Dark Ages coming to PlayStation 5 later this year or something like that. I would not be surprised if this, you know, Xbox might not draw a lot of attention to it during the showcase and say anything about it, but pretty shortly afterwards it's going to become very apparent that this game is coming to PlayStation. Just like we can assume Blade is coming to PlayStation, just like we can assume a lot of these Bethesda games going forward will be coming to PlayStation. So that's my only thing about this. I just want to kind of get that out of the way early, because I want to keep the focus and the attention on what really matters here, which is the fact that this game sounds badass and will probably be badass because it has done a great job of making these awesome new Doom games. But just gird your loins, prepare yourself for the Twitter meltdown when it's like, and it's coming to PlayStation, and people are like, Xbox has no games, it's over. I mean, again, this isn't, I don't love this. I don't love that everything Microsoft did, everything Xbox did to try and get themselves great exclusive content is now somewhat moot because it's all coming to PlayStation. But at the same time, it's like, hey, this is, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, this is going to be a great game you're going to get. Hey, if you're an Xbox player, this is another great game you can play. These are more things to look forward to over on Xbox. It's just at the same time, it's also a little disheartening when it's like, yeah, I guess Xbox doesn't really have anything cool and exclusive because it all does come to PlayStation, doesn't it? So just prepare yourselves for that. My assumption is that's pretty much a locked guarantee. We probably got about a year. I wouldn't be surprised if basically once this new Starfield expansion comes out around September time, that we also get the announcement of like Starfield Game of the Year Edition coming to Xbox and PlayStation. You know, it's like a content complete version of the game. So prepare yourselves for that. I think Bethesda, what they're going to do, and it's kind of stupid because they could have done this and it would have made way more sense, but they've already fucked it up and ruined it so badly. You could get away with being like, Bethesda is going to stay multi-platform. What we're going to do is we're going to take games like Doom, And we're going to make them multi-platform because they've always been, and we're not here to ruin that and take games away from other players. But we can add these games into Game Pass day one. And then with like mega big games like on Activision's side, like Call of Duty, you can do a thing where it's like it's on all platforms, but if it's a game like, I don't know, a game that doesn't rely on its online community as much, like Diablo or Starfield, it's like it can be a 1 year timed exclusive for Xbox, and then it will come to other platforms. But what you basically do is you can fuck around with the platform availability with Bethesda and Activision games, but just take any game that is under the Xbox Game Studios banner and keep those exclusive to Xbox. And that is the differentiating factor. You know, if a game is Activision, it's multi-platform. You know, if a game is Bethesda, it kind of depends. It could be timed exclusive, could be multi-platform. We don't really know. It's a Bethesda game. Those have a tendency to go a couple different ways. But if a game is an Xbox Game Studios game, that means it's exclusive. And I feel like that is all they really need to do to like kind of fix this issue they have with exclusivity. But they already fucked it up because they brought Grounded, Sea of Thieves, they already brought those over to PlayStation now, and now it's fucked because now people are going to wait for State of Decay 3 and go, yeah, of course it's coming to PlayStation. People are going to wait for Fable and be like, I don't know, when's it coming to PlayStation? And it's just kind of over in that regard. But yeah, prepare yourselves. There's no way this Doom Dark Ages or Year Zero, there's no way this isn't going to be a PlayStation game. I'm pretty sure Doom Year Zero, didn't that name leak like a year ago? I'm pretty sure it's not the first time we've heard that. But anyway, I'm excited to see this game next week. Sounds fucking awesome. So hopefully we get a nice trailer with some deep gameplay to coincide with it and to dissect and look over. So hell yeah, more Doom. And then yeah, they'll put it in a good place. I assume that game will probably be ready next year. So maybe next spring, sometime between like spring and early fall. I expect, that could be like that could be anything from like their March game to their May game to like their September game, somewhere in that range, but you could see it being like one of those months, right? All right, our second and only other story of the week from VGC, Xbox Game Studios has reportedly signed the next game from Rocksteady co-founders Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker. That's according to Xputer, which claims that the London-based 100 Star Games is working on a AAA single-player action-adventure title powered by Unreal Engine 5. Microsoft is said to be financing the project, which can initially be expected to be released, or which was initially expected to be released for Xbox and PC. While the studio is yet to officially announce the game, it emerged in January that Hill and Walker were listed as the directors of the company on business information website Endel. 100 Stars has also listed on the Great Place to Work website, which reads, quote, 100 Star Games is a video game startup based in East London. Our ethos is the creation of small teams of only about 100 industry veterans and emerging talents who are committed to crafting cutting-edge gaming experiences that inspire and captivating players worldwide. With the innovation at our core, we're dedicated to pushing the boundaries, embracing diversity, and fostering vibrant gaming communities. Our empowering company culture is unique to the industry, which encourages leadership at all levels, accountability, team support, vulnerability, and connection. 100 Star Games is currently recruiting through our official website. It has hired several lead developers and director level former Rocksteady employees, according to LinkedIn profiles spotted by Polygon. So, while there isn't too much to talk about here, I feel like this is exactly the kind of move Xbox needs to be making more and more. So, the guys who co-founded Rocksteady Games, the guys behind the Batman Arkham trilogy, who, yes, did technically work on a game that got canceled and then coerced and then reworked into Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and then quit around the end of Suicide Kill the Justice League's development cycle to go do something else because clearly they weren't happy at Rocksteady anymore and with WB Games. They have formed a new team, and Xbox, according to this report, has stepped in and said, hey, we'll help fund the game, but it's going to be an Xbox PC game. Maybe it's for a 1 year timed exclusivity. Maybe it's permanently. Who knows? But this team is working on a game, and Xbox is involved, and Xbox is going to be heavily associated with this game, whether it's exclusive, timed exclusive, or just has a marketing deal. Who knows? We'll see. But I feel like even though there's not much to talk about with the game because these guys haven't said a damn thing, they don't have a title, they don't have a name, they don't have a logo, they don't have gameplay, they don't have screenshots. We know these guys make incredible third-person action adventure style games. Look at the Batman Arkham games, for examples. And we know that whatever they put together for a team will probably be a talented group of individuals who are capable of making something of that caliber, but maybe a little more scaled down because it looks like they're trying to keep the development size somewhat nimble, which I think is the way to go. Regardless, I wish Xbox would make more deals like this, because rather than just acquiring and gobbling up studios only to have to then lay teams off, I feel like this is where the studio is headed, that this is a safer bet. Now you have this new team. They have funding. They have something to go off of with Xbox. They can make their game, and Xbox can get something out of it. And now we don't have to worry about when this game comes out. Let's say it's a little bit of a disappointment. Let's say maybe it's a 6 out of 10. Maybe it's a 9 out of 10. You know, maybe it's a Redfall. Maybe it's a Hi-Fi Rush. Or maybe it's the fucking Helldivers 2 situation. But regardless of why it bombs, if it's critically great but it underwhelms commercially, or if it succeeds on all fronts, regardless of the situation, now there's a situation where Microsoft could just walk away from the team if everything doesn't work out. The team can pivot, figure out what they want to do next or how they want to handle themselves, and Xbox don't have to be the bad guys shutting them down or laying off half the team or whatever. You don't need to keep buying teams. You don't need to get in bed with every team that has no history with you, that there's no culture that translates well between Xbox and blank team. This is a great way to get more games on the Game Pass, get more games in the Xbox ecosystem, get more content for your players, but also not commit to so much that when things get rough, you have to fucking be the bad guy and do everything that pisses people off and makes them hate you. So I love this story. This is feel good. Hopefully this is what we got going on. It's obvious that whatever they're working on will be, it'll be a long time before we really see it in action and get to know what it is. But it's good to see Xbox at least reportedly making these kinds of moves behind the scenes. And I hope to see more and more of this, because it would be really great for developers. It'd be great for Xbox as a brand. It'll be great for us as players to not have a brand that's constantly shooting themselves in the foot by buying all this shit they don't need to be buying, getting themselves into really deep situations, and then when things don't turn out to be the next Warzone or Fortnite, you don't have to tell a bunch of people to hit the fucking road. So I love this. I look forward to seeing what this is all about. This is kind of like what we're supposed to be getting with Contraband now. So hopefully this is something that pans out and works to everyone's advantage. So that is going to do it for all of our big news this week. We got one story of important enough news important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant its own individual discussion. And that's just this quick one here that says Amazon Games has announced a publishing deal with Maverick Games for a new driving game from the Forza Horizon developers. The unannounced game is a narrative-led open-world driving game for PC and Xbox and PlayStation. Maverick Games was founded last year 2 years ago by several core team behind the critically acclaimed Forza Horizon series, including studio head and creative director Mike Brown, former creative director of the Forza Horizon franchise. So Amazon's getting in bed with some ex-Forza guys to make a brand new racing game. And again, just like the game we just talked about, from former Rocksteady guys and Xbox. We're just going to have to wait to see what the hell that is. Generally, we don't talk about these kinds of games, but when you have prominent studios and publishing arms stepping in and getting involved, I feel like there's something to talk about, right? So that's going to do it for all of our news this week, you guys. This takes us to the very end, the best segment of the show, and this week, somewhat of a light section of the show. The comments, shout-outs from YouTube.com. Go to YouTube.com, click on the Xbox On podcast, latest episode, drop a comment, say anything nice, say anything mean, say anything in between. I'll read it on the show. I'm desperate for your attention. I'm desperate for your words. So just go ahead, drop a comment, and we'll talk about it. If you have the ability to do so or feel so inclined to help out, I would greatly appreciate any engagement on podcast services. 5-star reviews, comments, reviews like that. It helps a lot. So our one and only comment this week here, because we read the only other few comments we had at the top of the show, comes from Mr. Cronky, who writes in and says, I hate to do this, but you really didn't engage with what I was saying about Xbox last week. So what are your thoughts on the growth and why it's been stagnant? That's what I asked. But then they say that their digital revenue keeps going up. So please do the math there for me. If digital sales aren't the cause, my point here is that owning a bunch of studios is not very profitable. It's not very profitable at this point. Bethesda was collapsing, and that was why they sold out. They had like 5 flops in a couple of years before being bought. The idea that Microsoft is saying they prefer to risk it all on just game sales by leaving the hardware space is stupid. Why would they go from game sales and revenue from every purchase on their platform with 30 million units to just, hey, When we have a live service game that sells a copy, we get $40. How can you think that's a real strategy? Also, if they left the hardware space, they would be losing almost all of their Game Pass subscriptions. Most of their subscriptions are for people on console, so why would they end Game Pass? I really don't understand why you think that this is the plan. All right, so here's the thing, Cronky. I understand what you're saying, and I don't have all the numbers, so I can't read all the things. This is the point, is that Game Pass is expensive as hell to operate. They lose money on it month over month. They can afford to lose money on it, no problem whatsoever, for now. But at some point, the math, I hate this phrase, but it's a popular thing people say. The math has to math at some point. They got to make money. Something's got to be profitable. So here's the deal. Yes, it is so lucrative and so powerful to be in a position where you're one of the platform holders. If you're Steam, if you're PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox, because you put out a console, you sell tons of consoles, and even if your console is marked a failure by all the keyboard trolls, around the internet, it is true that even if your Xbox platform only sold 30, 40 million units, right? You still have an install base of 30, 40 million people. These are people who will subscribe to Xbox Live, which is just free money. These are people who will buy microtransactions in Fortnite or in PUBG or in Call of Duty Warzone. That's free money. These are people where every time they download NBA 2K, every time they play FIFA 20, every time they play Call of Duty, every time they play Fallout 76, whatever, they have to get a 30% rip to Xbox, right? Bethesda sells a game. This is before Bethesda. Terrible example. Bethesda is owned by Xbox now. 2K sells Take-Two sells a game on Xbox. Microsoft gets 30% of that. Take-Two gets the rest, right? I get it. All the money that's being made on GTA Online. We just learned last week that GTA 5 has now crossed the 200 million units sold mark. Let's assume 30% of those are on Xbox. That's a shit ton of copies of games, man. 60 million people or whatever have bought Grand Theft Auto, over the course of these 10 years or whatever on Xbox platforms. Microsoft will gladly take a 30% rip of that game from all those copies sold. I get what you're saying. There's a ton of money there. But the problem is they don't make free money on Xbox Live anymore because that's all been rolled into Game Pass, and Game Pass isn't lucrative. And they are selling fewer and fewer Xbox hardware units every time they put out a new generation of hardware. So they went from 80 million Xbox 360s to 40-something million Xbox Ones, and now they're at like 20-something Xbox Series consoles. So that revenue stream is getting drastically smaller and smaller and smaller. Plus, they don't have the free cash flow of Xbox Live. Plus, they have this fucking hemorrhaging service that is Game Pass that just costs them so much fucking money. And then there's all these teams that they now own that cost a ton of money to own and operate and keep going. And yes, when they sell a copy of Halo Infinite on the Xbox One or Series X, they make 100% of the proceeds. The problem is, statistically, they're not selling a lot of copies of Halo Infinite on Xbox Series X because people are subscribing to Game Pass and getting it included in their subscription. But the subscription service isn't making them any money, so there is no money coming from their storefront. Fret not. What about when a game like Far Cry 6 sells on an Xbox Series X, right? Because that's not included in Game Pass, and that's not a game Xbox pays to make. That's just a game that someone else makes, puts on Xbox's platform, and Xbox gets 30% of every copy sold. True, but there are fewer Xboxes out in the wild than ever before, and most people buying that game are buying it on PC or PlayStation, and the people who do have an Xbox and would hypothetically play Far Cry 6 on Xbox are statistically being trained now to no longer buy games like Far Cry 6, because what if it goes into Game Pass after a year or two? Or I'll just buy it on sale, or there's just too many things on Game Pass keeping me busy that I don't have to buy that. And it's hard because, yes, I don't have the data, and yes, I don't have the numbers here to really make the argument. But anecdotally speaking, myself and you guys listening, we're the hardcore listeners. That's why we're doing a fucking Xbox podcast, right? So it's hard to say because, well, yeah, I bought Far Cry 6 on Xbox, even though I'm a Game Pass subscriber, so I'm not necessarily the guy I'm talking about that, is being trained not to buy games because he has Game Pass. And you might be listening and go, well, I bought Far Cry 6 on Xbox, even though I'm a Game Pass subscriber. So what are you talking about? It's like, we are the exception, not the rule. What is going around, the word that's going around, the reason why a lot of publishers are starting to question whether or not it's even worth it to put their games on Xbox anymore is because publishers and developers are citing instances where they are seeing a lot less engagement from consumers on Xbox because services like Game Pass and EA Play and all that shit are encouraging people to just be like, I'll just stick to Game Pass. That game might go on Game Pass after a few years. I don't think I'm going to buy it. And it's just become an issue where lower console sales, plus no free money from Xbox Live anymore, plus hemorrhaging money from Game Pass, plus fewer people being invested in the ecosystem by way of wanting to buy games a la carte, is creating a situation where it's like, yeah, it's still lucrative to just take 30% of all these other people's games that are selling on your platform, but it's dwindling and slowing down like crazy. And eventually it might just be worth the effort to say, fuck it, Game Pass is going away. Xbox consoles are going away. We just make video games and sell them, you know? Because I should say that I do think that when if we get to the place where the Xbox hardware has to go away, Game Pass has to go away too. Maybe Game Pass sticks around for a while longer after the console's gone, but I think Game Pass has to go away at some point as well. If one goes, the other has to go with it. Because at the end of the day, Xbox can still make a lot of money owning Call of Duty and Bethesda Game Studios and 343 and the Coalition, and by making / selling games like Gears of War and Halo and Starfield and Elder Scrolls and Call of Duty on PlayStation, on PC, whatever, right? They can make tons of money doing that as a third-party publisher a la Sega. But I don't think they can do it forever with Game Pass being the vehicle for how it's achieved. And I don't think they can justify the console forever when fewer and fewer people are buying it, and fewer people are buying games on it, and fewer publishers and developers are putting their games on it, and you're just hemorrhaging money from this subscription service that doesn't do dick for you. But every time you put the game on PlayStation, every time you put the game on PC, it sells like crack. Someone's going to be asking, where's the money coming from? And they're going to have to make a value judgment and go, okay, it is more advantageous for us to just sell the game on PlayStation, sell the game on PC, make shit tons of money, than it is for us to R&D new hardware, create an Xbox storefront, create an Xbox hardware division, maintain that, staff those people, keep this shit going, lose money on the hardware, lose money on the subscription service, get less and less engagement over time from people on the platform. And so that's what we're talking about. It's not that they'd be, of course they'd be stupid today to pull out and be like, we're done, leave your money on the table, we don't want it anymore. But we're trending towards a place where it's becoming less and less feasible for them to keep doing what they're doing. And that's the concern. That's where this comes from. That's why I don't think Xbox is pulling out of hardware today, but I think we're at a place where it finally makes sense for them to pull out of hardware in the future, maybe in the midterm, hopefully the long term, not the midterm. So that I think that's the issue. It's just that it's becoming less and less of a lucrative thing for them. And that's all because Game Pass is killing things. Now, I think there's a way they could turn it around. I think stop fucking putting your games on PlayStation. Get rid of Game Pass. Just go back to the old model you had before in the old days. Go back to doing what PlayStation does now, but have the might and the majesty of owning Bethesda, owning Activision, owning all the Xbox Game Studios teams, and be like, listen, man, we're going back to the old way. We put out Halo, we put out Gears of War, we put out Starfield, we put out Fallout 5, we put out Elder Scrolls 7, we put out fucking Call of Duty 69, and they're all exclusive to Xbox. And you have to buy them for $70, and you have to buy our console to play them. I know that's not what's going to happen. I know legally that can't happen, especially with Call of Duty because of deals that have been made. But I think that would be the best thing Xbox can do. The problem is I think Game Pass was a move that if we had known that Xbox was going to go out and buy Bethesda and buy Activision, all these things were going to happen, I would have said in like 2016, like, don't do Game Pass. Don't worry about it. We don't need it. Just hold on a little longer because you guys are going to be fucking killing it in the future when you have all these publishers and developers under your grasp. But now they can't make fuck you money off of all these other games they have because they have to feed Game Pass. And so it's like Game Pass kills the hardware. The hardware isn't worth investing in anymore. Can you even make Game Pass profitable? I think Game Pass is the core problem. But, I know we don't have to get into it. We'll stop here. But like, I know it's like the domino effect of like, but Jesse, could you even get rid of Game Pass at this point? Like if you did, would it just be automatic game over? Because like once you can't put the genie back in the bottle. I don't think the majority of Xbox fans would be okay with going back to the old way after, 5+ years of Game Pass existing and doing what it did. I get it. 6 years, what has it been? 2017, 18. It's been like 6 or 7 years now. I mean, like, I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle, and that's unfortunate, but I don't know. I in my perfect world, that's what they would do. is just get rid of Game Pass, go back to the old system that PlayStation has. But in a way, I also see how what they're doing is accelerating an inevitable future that pretty much everyone's going to have to engage with at one point or another. It's just Xbox's time is coming a lot sooner than everyone else's, partially because they forced it themselves and partially because they just, I don't know, they just can't win, I guess. I don't know. But Cronky, thank you for writing in. Everyone out there, thank you for listening. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Xbox On. I'm out of questions. We're out of news. It's just a little bit of a shorter week, so unfortunately, whatever. Sometimes it's nice to have a light week, I guess. But, next week, maybe something will happen. Who knows? But then the week after that, baby, there's going to be so much to get into. And I'm really excited to discuss it all with you. I'm excited to get through Hellblade because I don't mean to rag on Hellblade, even though it's not really doing it for me. This is the big Xbox game this year that I knew it wasn't really going to be my thing or really was expecting to not be my thing. So I'm really enthusiastic going forward because Starfield DLC, I'm here for it. Avowed, I'm so excited for it. Indiana Jones, so excited for it. So where's that? Towerborn? Where the fuck is Towerborn? I'm really excited for that game too. So I'm just really looking forward to the rest of the year for Xbox because after Hellblade, really all the games coming out are my thing, well, except for Flight Simulator, but I don't give a shit about that game. I'm not even going to try to play that when it comes out because I just know it's not my thing. But I am very much looking forward to the rest of the year of Xbox. I think we got a lot to look forward to. If we can just, for the moments where we don't have to focus on all the bad things happening around Team Xbox, when we get to just focus on the games and what we're playing and what's coming out on the horizon, it's exciting, man. Xbox still has a ton of great shit. The team at Xbox did a great job building this reality for the brand that we're experiencing this year with all these great games coming. It's just a shame that everything around it is falling apart when we finally made it to this moment. But that being said, I'm just excited about the games. Games look great. And with that said, I'm going to get back to Hellblade 2, wrap that up, hopefully play some X-Defiant, Skur Ritual, and the next week we'll have a lot of games to talk about. But until then, be good, wipe your ears, blow your nose, and power your dreams.